Hey everybody, we're back with episode 20, and we were actually looking back episode 15. If you want to go back into our feed a little bit, we did a whole story about our cat Smokey, who's amazing, and unfortunately we have sad news. He passed away last night, so we've just been reminiscing about actually just how long we've had cats in our lives.
Yeah.
And looking at tons of pictures. And we've been joking between everybody in the family, like how many thousands of pictures we have of this amazing cat.
And when we were talking about him the last time, he'd gotten sick at the end of April, beginning of May, and was diagnosed with kidney failure. And it turns out that we took him to the vet and so forth, and we brought him home 8 months ago today.
Oh, 8 months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was May 8th. No, I'm sorry, I said 8 months ago. It's been a stressful day.
Yes.
It was 5 months ago. It was on May 8th. And obviously,
And he was
today
really
is
sick back
October.
then, and we certainly thought that we weren't going to get him back, and everything like that. And he made like a miraculous recovery, and he became his old self again. He went to his old favorite spots. He would go upstairs, downstairs, wherever. And so we were like super thrilled that we got our Smokey back. And we had told him before that we got him when our backup babysitter's cat had kittens. And so our kids got it and saw him from like the day after he was born,
Right.
basically. So it's a long time.
Right. We've had cats for years and years and years, but of all the cats we had, he was the only one that our kids knew really from day one, because he was born on a weekend basically, and they saw him that Monday when they went to the babysitters. So I mean, they literally saw him from.
Yeah, and we had mentioned before, like we already had two cats, and so when they all came running, we're gonna get this cat. His name is Smokey, and they were naming it and where he's gonna sleep and everything. And we obviously took him, which was probably one of the best ideas we've
Yeah,
had, because
worked out
he's
very
been
well.
such a joy to our lives for so long. But yeah, it's been at least as long as David and I have been together. There's only been in 27 years, probably only a couple months span where we have not had a cat in our
Yeah.
house. So it'll definitely be different.
Yeah, it'll be very strange to not have the usual morning routine of feeding the cat and making the coffee. I got my first cat in probably about September of 1987. I graduated law school in 1987. Was living in a small studio apartment. Couldn't really have a dog. In fact, I don't think dogs were allowed in the building, but the apartment wouldn't really have accommodated a dog anyway. And I like cats well enough, so I got a cat, because it made more sense than a dog. And then because I was, a new lawyer and working really long hours, I got another cat so that they wouldn't be alone.
Right.
So I had two cats when we met some years later. The difficult thing about talking about past pets is that pets and relationships often intersect. So,
I adopted them.
so right. So my first cat was actually named after, it was named Sparky, named after Sparky Anderson, the then manager of the Detroit Tigers, because someone else that I happened to know was a very, very big Detroit Tigers fan. In any event, the point is, so for 33 years, almost nonstop, I've had cats. When I had those two for many, many years, when they both finally passed away, there was a brief gap, but then we got the two, and then Smokey is the third. So it's really for 33 years,
Yeah, and the
I've
other
had
two,
cats.
we got two at the same time. There's a animal care league in our town, and that does adoptions. And when we knew we didn't want a kitten, and so these cats were found together. They didn't look alike, but they were found together. So maybe they could have been.
Well, they were like 8 months old when we got them, but they were almost full grown. But they were found together probably only a few days old or a few weeks old. So they really had to have been brothers because it would have been kind of unusual for these
So we
two
hadn't
very
planned on getting two right off the bat at that
yeah
time, but we were just going to get one. But then since they were found together, we're like, we can't split them up, so we'll do that. So
right.
then obviously, when we got Smokey, those two cats were a couple years old.
Yeah, we got those two guys, Max and Sparks. Sparks, by the way, named after a character in a Lego video game for the original PlayStation.
Right.
That's how young our children were when they named him Sparks, because he was kind of an orange tabby, and he was like a creamsicle cat,
Right.
you know, orange and white. And there was a character in the in the Lego Rock Raiders PlayStation game called Sparks, and he was orange. He had an orange like outfit on, so they named him Sparks. Anyway, Max and Sparks we got in 2003.
Yep.
So I had my original cats from 1987 to probably early
Yeah.
2003, maybe 2002. There might have been a little bit of gap. We got those guys in 2003, and then Smokey in 2005.
Yeah.
And he lasted 15 years, just a little bit. I mean, we had him a little bit less than 15 years because he couldn't come home with us till he was about 8 weeks old.
Right. So he had to stay with his mama for a couple months before we brought him home. But we brought him home on Claire, our youngest's fourth birthday, and she's almost going to be 19 next month. So,
and I literally don't know what I will do in the morning anymore because, for the past 17 years straight, and then really for most of the past 33 years, every single morning was getting up, feeding cats, one or more cats, and then making coffee. And the cats always got fed first. Although I would, when I was still running, I would run first. Then I would feed the cat.
But it's kind of like even the cats get in that routine of like, this is how it's happening, kind of thing. So very like structured, and Smokey always loved David and loved following him around. So wherever he was going, if he was getting up, Smokey would get up to see like, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? So
wait
that was
outside the
super
bathroom
cute.
for me.
He would stick his paw underneath the door.
I can never get a good picture of it though. I'd always try. I wanted to get a video of him reaching under the
Like, what was he gonna do? I mean, he's just like,
he was
hey, Dad.
telling me to hurry up.
Yeah,
is what he was doing.
I'm waiting for you.
But he was actually, when we did the 5 episodes ago when we talked about him, he was really doing pretty well. He had lost some weight again, and was slowing down a little bit, but we didn't really think that it would be, precipitous. And then just over the past week, he just really went down quickly.
Yeah. And there was really nothing we could do to like make it better. We tried to give him fluids again. We tried to give him medicine to stimulate his appetite, and he just wasn't having it. So
he stopped eating, or tapered off, and then just stopped eating. But he would still drink water. We gave him IV fluids, but then he just the last roughly like 36 hours, he barely would drink. I had to. He liked to sleep on the love seat in the back room, which is also where I have the sort of family room at the back of the house, which is where I have my office, and. He couldn't really get up and down very well. He'd sort of fall off the thing. And
he was super weak.
Yeah. I had to, last couple of days, I would have to like hold him over his water bowl so he could drink. And we were kind of going back and forth because he didn't seem to be in pain. Although, it's a little hard to tell because they mask things. So we're kind of going back and forth about what to do. But ultimately, he sort of made the decision for us because he didn't make it long enough for us to intervene. Obviously, if he was in distress, we would not have made him suffer, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we were in that kind of like toss up of like, what should we do kind of thing. So it was nice that was made for us, so we didn't have to.
And I'm kind of a sap. The last couple of nights I stayed up with him. Well, I didn't really stay. I fell asleep, but I didn't want him to be alone, because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Well, and since he was on the love seat, you didn't know, like in the middle of the night, is he going to try to get down, or
go find his water dish, or
or start crying? We wouldn't hear him or anything like that. So, Yeah. So it wasn't quite a immediate unexpected loss. We knew that over the last week, obviously, that it was getting worse. So we kind of like were preparing ourselves, but it's still sad. And especially our youngest is away at college, so that's also sad.
And we knew, I mean, when we got him, when he went downhill 5 months ago, when we took him to the vet, I mean, we knew that he wasn't really going to fully recover. He did bounce back quite a bit, but we knew that that was a terminal condition. You know,
Right.
you're not going to give a cat a kidney transplant.
And we have been saying this all along, like how lucky we were to
Yeah.
get those extra months. You know, like that's like a gift in itself that we totally were grateful that we got those extra days, which was nice.
I will say one thing, and I had made a comment sort of as a joke, but I wasn't really joking, and I think I was there was a not just a grain of truth in it, as I was saying that this, you know, with all the stress of being kind of locked down and all the uncertainty and the anxiety over what our kids were going to be able to do and not do with school and all that stuff, I really came to appreciate the idea of having an emotional support animal. You know, not that I ever disrespected anyone who did have an emotional, but I never would have thought of, oh, you know, that's something I would need. Again, not out of any disrespect. It just wasn't anything that really occurred to me personally. But I will tell you that having him, because he was always either in my office in the back or upstairs with when Claire was still home with her, or Jennifer had
Now my office is up there.
her office up there. Having him around was a source of like comfort, you know, and I'm sure we drove him nuts because we would, you know, badger him. We'd pick him up when he didn't want to be picked up and pet him, and
Yeah,
you
he was
know,
not a lap cat to us. Our
no,
middle son, he would climb on his lap, but
that's true.
he would get near us, sit next to us on the
He'd
couch.
climb up behind us and sit on the cushions on
Yeah,
the couch behind
and there was
us.
times where he would climb up and start chewing my hair.
That was strange.
But then he would jump up on David's desk, want to have his yogurt bowl
Yeah,
when he was
right,
done.
right. Well, he was always trying to eat somebody's food.
He was always trying to eat somebody's food.
Yeah, but and I think that was a kind of especially challenging for him because since he had kidney failure, one of the things that you have to do is put him on a very, very low protein diet. But of course, instinctually, he wants protein, you know. So if you had yogurt, if you had, you know, even like, you know, cheese, if you had pizza, anything that, I mean, he knew that it was what he was, you know, that he was supposed to be
Right.
eating. Cats eat protein. That's like their main thing. They're not omnivores like dogs. They're really
And
carnivores.
that was the sad part because we couldn't like really like
Yeah.
go against those, instructions,
Yeah, it would have been
kind
bad
of
for
thing. So towards the, it was getting bad. We were like thinking, can we just give him anything? You know, like I'll give him peanut butter. I'll give him, I don't even know what, just to make him like put weight back on or something like that. But we knew we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah, we just wanted to share the sad news, and we will share more pictures. I hope you guys don't mind. But yeah, it's just gonna be weird not having him around and just doing our usual stuff. And he's amazing. So we appreciate you letting us grieve,
right.
but since we just posted that, a few episodes ago, we just wanted to give you an update of our sadness.
Yeah. Right.
But our next episode will be more upbeat,
Right.
and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.